centuries, humans have been growing alongside our botanical brethren. Our histories have mixed and mingled to bring us modern medical marvels, faded folklore, and everything in between. Of course, in order to understand the plant, we have to start with its roots. I'm M. Governor Gaddis, and this is Rooted. Dianthus caryophyllus, also known as carnations, are a floral favorite, especially for Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. But this plant also goes by the names pinks, grenadine, sops and wines, and Ghillie flower. If you know me in real life, you know I bring up ghillie suits any chance I get. So imagine, if you will, a ghillie suit made entirely out of flowers. Why blend in when you were born to stand out, you know? Alright, now that I've cursed us all with that, let's get back to carnations. As you might have guessed, they're part of the Dianthus genus, in a family we mostly refer to as the carnation family. And that's because all of these guys are so clearly related. All members of this family are flowers, most of them are pink and kind of ruffly, and almost all of them are extremely common in gardens. Carnations are believed to have originally been native to the Pyrenees, but those varieties don't exist anymore. We know that they've been cultivated from Greece and Rome first, and then gradually spread all over the world until they were pretty much a standard flower in gardens across the globe. Today you'll find them growing wild in Mediterranean countries like Greece and Spain. While you may not be able to find those original varieties, today there are a bunch of different varieties and styles of carnations because of the centuries we have had to experiment with them. Most commonly, though, they are round flowers with layers of ruffly, colorful petals. Originally, they were just pink or like peachier colors, but today we have yellow, white, burgundy, striped, and so many more. It's truly a little bit wild to see just how far we've come with a few thousand years of experimentation. The fact that most of them have ruffed or crimped looking edges is actually what some people believe inspired the name pinking shears. Just a fun fact for any of you sewing fans out there. The leaves are long and slender, and they're a greenish-blue color. The base of their flower heads are bulbous and poke out of long stems. While they do produce seeds, it's been noted that a lot of them do better started from propagation, which isn't uncommon for a lot of the flowers we see in gardens today that have undergone centuries of tweaking and changing. While there are so many different varieties, there are a few things that are key characteristics of pretty much all carnations. First, the petals tend to taste pretty spicy. It's like a cross between clove and nutmeg, and they have sweet, spicy floral scents that are still really popular in perfumes today. Carnations are also called flower of the gods, partially because of the taxonomy of the word. It's derived from coronae, meaning crown, in Latin. And they're also partially called this because of how frequently they pop up in mythology and folklore. A great example is a story about Artemis. According to lore, Artemis found a shepherd on her hunting land. Not wanting his flock to be hunted, he quickly scared them away. Artemis, in her anger, struck the man down and killed him. It wasn't until later, when she realized the harm her anger had caused, that she regretted her actions and asked her father, Zeus, for help. Zeus brought the shepherd back as a flower, the one we now call a carnation. In a similar story, a hunter falls in love with the hunting goddess Diana, who cannot return his admiration because of her vow to remain chaste. Upon learning that his love is unrequited, the hunter kills himself, and Diana's tears turn into white carnations. Due to their ties to powerful gods, carnations were used in coronation ceremonies in both Greece and Rome. Speaking of gods, in Christianity, it's believed that carnations appeared after Christ was crucified. The legend is that upon seeing her son nailed to the cross, Mary wept, and was filled with such sorrow that her tears turned into beautiful flowers upon the earth, leaving a trail of carnations as she walked. It's because of this story that carnations, especially the pink ones, are said to symbolize a mother's love for her child and are the official flower of Mother's Day. But that's not all they symbolize. In fact, the Victorians started an entire secret language based solely on their love of hidden messages, passive aggression, and carnations. Eventually, they decided they needed to add more flowers, though, because they could only say so much with a carnation bouquet. Today, we know the language as florology, and the meanings of carnations are as follows. Red is said to mean passion, desire, and deep love. Light pink is motherly love and gratitude. Dark pink is fondness and new love. Yellow tends to be rejection or disappointment. White is purity and luck. And purple can mean a person is unpredictable or unreliable, or that someone is sorry. Usually, this is an expression of sympathy or grief. It really depends on the context and the pairing of flowers. Green is traditionally used as a symbol of homosexuality, and this was actually originated by Oscar Wilde. So green doesn't actually naturally occur in carnations. It is dyed, but I just thought this was too cool not to include. And then the solid color is usually an affirmation or acceptance, and then striped carnations are used as a rejection or denial. People would just kind of mix these colors together, sometimes with other flowers, to send very, very specific and honestly kind of convoluted message. And for those of you wondering, I did put this out before Valentine's Day so you could send your loved ones and nemesis secret messages or decode any that happened to get sent to you. You're welcome. We didn't just use carnations to tell people how we felt about them. We used carnations in all kinds of stuff. One really famous use for carnations was a substitute for clove in flavoring wine, mead, and beer in medieval times. Because carnations had a very similar profile and were much more readily available, it was an easy and affordable substitute for anyone brewing on a budget. Historically, they've also been used to cure emotional ailments like depression and anxiety. Typically, in this use case, the petals would be steeped into a tea that was then given to the person feeling anxiety or depression on a regular basis until their mood changed. I know it sounds a little wild that carnations could cure this without containing any brain-altering chemicals, but it makes sense when you consider the medicine at the time. In medieval times, doctors believed in what we now call humoral theory. Basically, we all had 4 biles. Black bile, which is basically poop, green for phlegm, yellow, which is stomach acid, and red, which is blood, but also kind of like a mix of all of them. It's a whole thing. But essentially, they all needed to be balanced. And if you had too much of any one bile, your mood would change and you would get a slew of related illnesses. Too much black bile would make you depressed, too much green would make you anxious, and too much yellow would make you angry. So I suppose it makes sense that carnations, which to this day are used in herbal medicine as a diuretic and expectorant, would help you rebalance if you had too much black or green bile. And with blood, well, that's where the leeches came in. Speaking of matters of the heart, Did you know that carnations were used in love spells? The most commonly recorded concoction I could find for this consisted of carnations, bay leaves, marjoram, and lavender. While today most of us are turning to dating apps to find love, there are still lots of ways we use carnations. The first, and by far most prevalent, is in our gardens in floral arrangements. With stunning flowers, a delightful smell, and delicious petals, it's easy to see why we keep these guys around. It helps that they're easy to grow and add a ton of color to borders and bouquets alike. Plus, who could forget the secret message capabilities? Because they're both beautiful and edible, it's also commonly used as a garnish, in teas, and even in some fancy cocktails or beers. Mostly as a nod to their use in old-timey beers and wines. On the spellwork side of things, carnations are still used in love spells, but are more commonly used in work related to protection and trance breaking due to their strong fragrance and because of their ties to the gods, specifically feminine gods of the hunt and protection, depending on the specific witchcraft you practice. While there aren't a ton of applications in Western medicine for carnations, we do still see them commonly used in herbal remedies and Eastern medicine, mostly in the treatment of UTIs, inflammation, stomach issues, and in skin/gum care, as carnation petals actually do have soothing properties when infused in water. This Valentine's Day, whether you're looking to cure a stomachache from too much chocolate, or finally telling your annoying coworker how you really feel, I hope you'll at least consider carnations. And the next time you see one, give it a little kiss on the head and tell it thank you for the centuries it has spent growing alongside us. As a total aside for anyone still thinking about floral ghillie suits, someone has actually made this. The artist Jeremy Chandler actually made a 6-part series of them as NFTs, and they are so cool. I'll link his work in the show notes and share a photo on Instagram. I will also be sharing the motivational poster from my hell that none of you asked for, but I feel like you all need in your lives. So consider it a little Valentine's Day treat from me. If you liked this show, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at rooted.pod. We're on YouTube at rooted.podcast, and check out our website, rootedpod.com, for transcripts, updates, and so much more. Thanks for being here, and until next time, be kind to yourselves, be kind to the earth, and just like a plant, drink your water.